Lisa, welcome. The stage is yours.
Thank you very much. Dobre večer. Drago mije. So that's as good as it gets, ladies and gentlemen. But thank you very much for having me on. I don't know what that young lady said, but I'm sure it sounded great. But I'm not a technician and I'm not an engineer. I'm actually not great at technology, right? But I'm great at hospitality, and that's where my background is. I come from Manchester in England, and I'm a strategic account manager for SiteMindera. So what I'm going to share with you guys today is some of the most interesting trends in traveller behaviour that we've seen as we look ahead to 2026 from my company SiteMindera. But I've been in travel and tourism for over 30 years. I know I don't look it, right? And I started my career with TUI over 30 years ago, working overseas as a holiday rep. So I was lucky enough to work in 14 different countries across Europe, long haul, the Caribbean, and I finished up commercially looking at purchasing and contracting with TUI. So I worked very closely with hoteliers over the years, and I can understand the challenges that hoteliers have, especially in seasonal destinations like Croatia, which of my career, I've never actually been to Croatia until earlier this summer, and I can't believe I've never been here before. It's absolutely beautiful country, and you should all be extremely proud. Everyone I've met has been really, really friendly. But I worked for TUI for 19 years, and then I came back to the UK after having children and started to work for Expedia. And at the Expedia Group, I was a market manager, and I was then introduced to hotels, independent hotels, that were not on the Expedia platform. And it was my job to encourage a hotel to join the Expedia platform. Because back in them days, hotels and independent hotels across Europe and the UK only really worked with Booking.com. And they thought, well, we don't need another OTA because Booking.com pretty much fills my rooms. What do I need Expedia for? And it was my job as an OTA to say, look, you need more than one shop window to sell your rooms online. And that's where I learned all about online travel and the big boys that none of the independent hoteliers like to pay commissions to, am I right? Because they do take a huge chunk of your hotel profits. But what I'm going to do today is share with you some usable strategies that you guys can take away and really help you to leverage the relationships you have with your OTAs to help grow your direct business and ultimately your bottom line. So after COVID came along, that changed everything. And then COVID really, for anybody in hospitality, was a complete game changer. It completely changed the landscape of technology, and it completely changed the way we do business online in travel. Also during COVID, the people that were there for you, if you worked in hospitality during that time, if somebody was there for you during that time, they're still there for you now. And you remember those people and those companies that helped you through that tough period. And that was when I started my own consultancy working with independent hotels. And I discovered SiteMindera as a solution for my independent hoteliers that needed to get back on their feet. And what I liked about SiteMindera's solution was the reach of its distribution, the reliability of its connections. And then soon after that, SiteMindera said, look, Lisa, you're a great reseller for our product. Why don't you join our reseller team? And I joined SiteMindera a couple of years ago. And I'm very pleased to say that after a lot of hard work by the development team at Rentlio, we have finally got our integration live. So give the Rentlio engineers a round of applause. We are now live with SiteMindera and Rentlio, and we're ready to bring our solution to the people of Croatia and the hotels across the region. So I'm very excited. And then I was thinking, on my way here today, I got thinking about how much times have changed. And really, in travel, it's travelers' behaviour that is the catalyst for the decisions that we make as hoteliers or people that work in hospitality. It doesn't matter in what part of travel you work in, whether you be in the airline, hotels, supply chain, distribution, but travel is constantly evolving, and it's an industry driven by customer behaviour and social economic change. And it's that passion, I think, that connects every one of us in this room. So a customer-centric business, they thrive, they stay ahead of the trends, they anticipate demand. I know Marco talked about that this morning. And they evolve and they pivot, and they always know what their competition's doing. Now, if people don't do that, then they simply get left behind. So I'll tell you why SiteMindera is important to understand that customer behaviour. If you're not familiar with the brand, SiteMindera are the hotel industry's leading guest acquisition and revenue management platform. So SiteMindera serve over 50,000 hotels globally in over 150 countries. And we process more reservations through our platform than Booking.com. Over 130 million reservations a year. Now, that distribution power with SiteMindera means that we have an incredible amount of data that we share with our customers and our partners to help them to make data-driven revenue decisions for their business. Now, this partnership with Rentlio in this market means that we've got a hotel tech company now that understand hoteliers in Croatia. This truly allows us, SiteMindera, as a global company, to become locally relevant. Because when we have a partner that understands how you do business, you can leverage the power of a global player with a local expert. What I found while I've been in the business of selling hotel tech over the last few years is that there's no two hotels the same. So whatever revenue strategy you have and whatever tech stack you use, that hotel next door probably will use something completely different, and it might work for you, but it won't work for them. So what's important is to understand what works for your business and help you to make the right decisions about your tech stack and your revenue strategy, because one size doesn't fit all. And also technology, I'm not very tech savvy, but technology in the wrong hands is a waste of money, right? You could have all the bells and whistles on your tech stack, but if you don't have a revenue strategy and you don't understand the fundamentals of revenue management, it's a waste of money. So let me share with you some of the insights that I'll present to you today. So every year, SiteMindera takes all of that data from all of those reservations, and we do a survey, and we publish those results of that survey for the world to see. Now, you're very, very lucky that the results of this survey came out yesterday. You are the first people in the world to see the results of our 2025 survey, all right? So there you go. You're very special. So we surveyed 12,000 travellers across 14 countries. It's the largest accommodation-specific traveller survey, and we do it every year. Now, hoteliers everywhere, I've just come back from the World Travel Market in London. They're all asking me, when's it out? When's the Travellers Report out? They're all waiting for it, okay? So you can stay one step ahead of the competition now because you're at Rediscover. Okay, so here we go. From the report, we're going to cover the biggest trends that have emerged from the research. Then I'll detail the major changes in the booking behaviours that we have seen compared to last year. Then we'll explore strategic traveller insights to some of the region's biggest source markets to see where the opportunities are for hoteliers and to boost your bookings and to grow your revenue. So please feel free to take notes, screenshots, and ask any questions at the end. So the traveller landscape is evolving faster than ever. So let's take a look at the 2026 trends coming out of this edition of our report. First, and we just heard from our friends in our engineers that know the data and they know the AI. AI. The use of AI during the booking process is accelerating. While only 4% of travellers around the world already start their accommodation research process on an AI tool, this number has quadrupled in 1 year. That just shows you how fast things are changing. When it comes to AI capabilities, 8 out of 10 travellers view it as a useful tool for financial decisions and protections during the booking process, like monitoring price drops, spotting scams, but also to summarise hotel reviews. No one's got time to read through all of those, and to make personal recommendations. While some travellers from some markets like Germany and the UK are a little more hesitant to use AI at the moment, hotels that integrate AI in their strategies will capture the majority of these tech-forward travellers in the future. So the question in the previous session, do I need AI in my business? Yes, you do, and this is why. The second trend speaks directly to revenue. Anybody here that works on revenue management closely? Who looks at the numbers? Everyone looks at the numbers. Okay, great. 65% of travellers now understand and accept dynamic pricing in hotels as fair market practice, and only 14% disagree. So if you've ever thought, I'm not brave enough to flex my pricing, I've got a really boring static revenue strategy that's low, mid, peak season, forget it. The people understand now dynamic pricing is the way forward, so be brave and be bold. Those who strongly agree with that statement grew 3 percentage points compared to last year, so that's up to 28%. So that tells us that travellers have now become accustomed to dynamic pricing in other industries, such as ride sharing, airlines, and they understand the economics of it. So don't be afraid to do it. The last trend, but definitely connected to dynamic pricing, event-driven travel is accelerating. Events are a major travel motivator and will continue to be so, as 63% of travellers are more likely to travel for special events next year. 1/3 of Generation Z and millennials will travel for concerts and festivals. Did anybody see Oasis World Tour this year and the impact that had on local accommodation? Unbelievable. Older generations will travel mainly for family celebrations and holidays, but the future of hospitality pricing isn't just about seasons and seasonality anymore. So like I said before, it's increasingly bound to experiences, so be brave with your pricing strategy. Does that look familiar? Yeah. In Croatia, the Ultra Europe Festival attracts over 150,000 visitors from 140 countries over the past 13 years. This results in exceptional occupation rates for hotels. Who really makes the most out of Ultra? Do you make the most out of it? Good question. Maybe not. Its impact is not only limited to Split. Ultra invites its visitors to explore other places such as Dubrovnik, Krka waterfalls, please excuse my Croatian, and Plitvice lakes. I'm sorry. And this results in guests staying in Croatia for longer than the average long weekend. The average is 7 nights of stay in Croatia during this event. So events represent a great opportunity for hotels to partner with local event organisers, look at upsells, work with venues to create special packages for these kind of occasions. So now let's get into the biggest shifts in booking behaviours. And this is what we're noticing year on year. Okay, so first, there's a significant shift towards premium accommodation. Guests will prioritise the experience and the comfort. 58% will book superior or luxury rooms in 2026. That's 4 percentage points increase year on year. So my advice for hoteliers out there is ensure your room descriptions, your imagery, your upsell strategies highlight the tangible benefits of premium categories. OTAs have standard room categories. They're static. They can't change. This is where you can be unique and create standout. So think about how you can sell your rooms differently through your own booking engine. And this is the big one. And it's a historic shift. For the first time, OTAs have overtaken search engines as the starting point for accommodation research. This is what's going to make the headlines in the travel press next week when we publish this report. 26% will now start their search on an OTA, compared to 21% who start their search on a search engine. Now, this means that travellers are going directly to Booking.com or Expedia, bypassing traditionally a Google search for the first time. After OTAs and search engines, 14% start with friends or family recommendations. Word of mouth influence has doubled year on year. Then 9% start on social media, the rise of TikTok, social influencers. 7% with hotel brands they know and love, or travel blogs. Then, as I mentioned earlier, 4% of travellers start with AI. And that's a number that's probably increasing. It's probably 5 or 6% now. That was only like 3 days ago. So this shift means that your OTA presence, your reviews, your competitive positioning matter now more than ever before, because that's what travellers are doing. So this is my favourite part of what I talk about. I'd like to share now my top 10 tips for maximising your OTA ranking and driving more bookings. Now, before I go down this list, I'll just remember what it was like when I was directing market management at Expedia. When those hotels were telling me that I didn't need another OTA, they were quite happy with Booking.com and they didn't want another one. The minute they did open another shop window with Expedia, their rank increased on Booking.com. Why? Because Booking.com needed to work harder to win market share because there were 2 OTAs vying for that business. So simply opening an other channel on your OTAs means that your OTAs are going to work harder and your rank will organically improve. Okay, so that's tip number 1. So content and photos, of course, is king. So on your OTAs, this is foundational. Make sure you have professional, recent photos of every room type and your best amenities. Tip number 1. Tip number 2, rates and availability. It seems obvious, of course, but keep your rates competitive and your calendar open, especially far in advance, right? Like a supermarket isn't going to sell, Booking.com and Expedia are not going to sell your rooms if you've got no availability. They're not going to put you on the front shelf because no one's going to buy you, right? So if you've got rooms available, of course they'll sell you because they want to make money. Second of all, when I was in Croatia, I stayed in Trogir, beautiful, in June. I had a wonderful time. This gentleman, we stayed in an Airbnb, And I actually booked it on booking.com, right? It was me and a group of friends, and we had a wonderful time. I booked on booking.com, and I said to the owner, his name was Tony. I'll give you his number if you want it. His name was Tony, and I said to him, do you know what? We've had a wonderful time when we were checking out. We'd love to come back again next year in June. And he went, oh, yeah, that'd be great. I said, but I'll book it direct next time. He said, yeah. I said, have you got a booking engine? Have you got a website? No. Just use his booking.com. I was like, okay, Tony. And then the next thing, I looked on booking.com. Can I book for next year? No, Tony, I can't. So this is my point, is the simple things. Make sure your availability is there, then you'll sell. And make sure that you're maximising every opportunity you've got. Reviews. Actively solicit reviews and respond to all of them promptly. Reviews are one of the biggest ranking factors. And again, remember, people are using AI to scan reviews. So make sure you're responding to those reviews. Genius programs, always a bone of contention, but absolutely 100%. If you're not already using Genius with booking.com, it will make a difference to your rank and increase your visibility, for sure. Flexible policies. Offering 24-hour cancellations make you more attractive to risk-averse bookers. Remember, COVID, if people weren't utilising a non-refundable rate plan, then they might as well have not bothered. So just make sure you utilise as many rate plans as you can. Again, that will make you more attractive to booking.com and Expedia because you're more sellable, which will increase your rank. Also, with single room rates. Now, you can clever use of single room rates, but with single room rates, if you make sure you're competitive on single occupancy, a lot of properties neglect this, but this could effectively be your loss leader. So if you've got a single room that you never sell midweek in January on a Wednesday, that's your loss leader. That's going to give you the cheapest room available. Right? And that's going to also give you another brownie point and an opportunity to get your rank higher. Non-refundable rates, of course, help you rank higher. Breakfast options clearly indicate if breakfast is included or if it's available for a fee. Fewer restrictions. Again, you can't really be selective if you want to increase your rank. Okay, so make sure that you lift as many minimum length of stay restrictions as possible. That again will make you more sellable for the OTAs. And do what Tony didn't do and set your rates far in advance and make sure you capture those early bookers. And remember, the reason people book to stay with you again isn't because of what booking.com did or because of what Expedia did. It's because of what you did. That guarantees if you step back through that door again and book with Tony. And one more thing that's absolutely imperative, add more channels. So all of these things here, they're not nice to haves. They are directly impacting your revenue on the OTAs. Okay. So understanding where bookings actually come from is crucial. So let's look at the UK, Germany and Italy. In all three markets, of course, booking.com is number 1 and Expedia is number 2. So there's no surprises there. But what is exciting, direct hotel website bookings rank number 3 in all three markets. And as a result of adding channels, your hotel will be displayed in more shop windows online. And this is what we call in the industry the billboard effect, where travellers are more likely to discover your property on an OTA and then visit your website to compare. On your website, they're going to get more information that's specific to that property. They'll find you first on the OTA, but they are 65% more likely to visit your website as a result of that. So this is why both strong OTA presence and an optimized direct booking engine are absolutely essential. And here's proof that the billboard effect is growing stronger from this year's Changing Traveller report. 18% of travellers who start their research on an OTA will ultimately book directly with the hotel. That's up 3.3% from last year. So that's a significant increase. When asked why, price is surprisingly not top of the list. 63% of travellers want greater control over their bookings and their changes. They worried about being stuck with an OTA if something goes wrong. Another 63% want better service through direct communication with the property. And 57% believe they'll get lower prices and better package deals by booking direct. So that's good news for Tony. With OTAs having a growing influence on traveller research, they're contributing to the growing billboard effect for hotels. And for hoteliers, it's a clear sign to prioritise detailed, professional listings on booking channels to stand out and entice travellers to seek more information from their own website and advertise unique offers for direct bookings. So it starts with an OTA, but it ends with you. You're the difference that makes them come back. I remember I checked into a hotel once that I'd, again, booked on booking.com or Expedia. And I asked her at reception, I said, oh, what's the Wi-Fi password? And she said, book direct next time. I said, is that lowercase or uppercase? What? Okay, so with international travel still on the rise, let's explore some of the insights from the region's most relevant surveyed source markets to understand how to increase your chances of winning their booking. Now, there's a lot of data on these slides, so I'll try not to be too data heavy. But according to the Croatian National Tourist Board, tourists from Germany and Italy and the UK are the most relevant for your region. Would you say that's fair? Okay, let's have a look. Let's break down how travellers from these three markets book differently. So in Germany, 28% start their research on search engines. Google is still king in Germany. 26% start on OTAs and 13% ask their friends and family first. When it comes to booking, 35% book through the OTA, 18% directly on property website, and 14% use meta search options like Google, Trivago, and TripAdvisor. In Italy, 29% of travellers start on search engines, 29% on OTAs, so it's exactly split. For booking, 39% use OTAs, 20% use meta search engines, and only 16% book directly on property websites. And in the UK, this is where we see that OTA preference. 26% start on OTAs, 24% on search engines, and 16% ask friends and family. 40% of UK travellers use the OTA, it's quite high, the highest share among the three, and 21% book directly, and Brits are very fond of direct bookings. As you can tell, I'm a Brit. Me and Tony, like that. Okay, so how do you use this information? So this problem is clear. Your source markets start their research in different places. If you're not visible where your target guests are searching, you're invisible before they've even started booking, okay? So first, add more distribution channels strategically. Don't just be everywhere. Be where your travellers are looking. Hotels can get up to 40% more bookings when connected to 5 or more channels. Ask yourself about a return on investment on your hotel stack, on your tech stack, and your distribution options. If you can add channels for free, like you can with Rentlio and SiteMindera, why not be in as many shop windows as possible? It pays for itself. Second, integrate best-in-class booking engine and payment solution with a modern, optimized website. Your direct booking experience must be as smooth or smoother than the OTA booking. Mobile optimization is non-negotiable. Most research happens on phones. Okay, so make sure your booking engine is optimized for mobile. Number 3, feature on Google Hotel Ads, Trivago, and TripAdvisor. These meta search channels are where comparison shopping happens, especially for the Italians. Okay, that's amore. The SiteMindera platform can help you implement all of those things simultaneously. And through our products and integrations with Rentlio, there's not necessarily the need for transactional pricing, which I'm sure will be a huge relief to many of you. I know this is a market which is very heavily transactionally priced. That's all set to change now with Rentlio and SiteMindera. So let's talk about what these travelers actually care about once they're considering your hotel and where revenue opportunities lie. So in Germany, 49% say room quietness is their top priority. 47% prioritize Wi-Fi speed and reliability. 32% care about the view. And when it comes to paying extra, 39% will upgrade for breakfast with a bratwurst, 25% for a balcony, and 21% for a better view. Italy, 53% will prioritise room quietness, even higher than Germans, and 42% want quality pillows and bedding. Italians are particular about sleep comfort. For upsells, 45% will pay for breakfast, the highest of all 3 markets. 26% want airport transfers, and 25% require on-site parking. In the UK, this is what Brits like. 43% will pay for breakfast. The highest, 28% like a view, a room with a view. 27% like a balcony. Okay. Breakfast, of course, for all markets is a universal upsell winner. So if you're not advertising breakfast, make sure there's an option somewhere if you can. Price it attractively and merchandise it well in your booking flow. So if you've got, make sure you're listing that if you're doing it in the OTAs, adding it on as an optional extra on your booking engine. And to target Italian guests, offering airport transfers and parking will differentiate you significantly. Here's how to turn these insights into revenue. Guests from different markets want different features and amenities. Personalization, which we've talked about earlier today, is key for effective cross-sell and upsell strategies. First, create packages or on-site experience that appeal to each traveler type. For Italians, for instance, create bundle airport transfers. Second, be detail-orientated in showcasing your room's unique features. You know, don't just say Wi-Fi available, say high-speed fiber Wi-Fi available, 100 megabytes download speeds, and just make it talk about things that OTAs can't talk about. Leverage it. In your booking engine during your reservation, in pre-arrival emails, at the front desk, every touch point is an opportunity to increase a revenue per booking. If you'd like to dive a little bit deeper yourself into the Changing Traveller report, 2026 Trends and Source Market Insights, it will be available on November the 19th on SiteMindera's website. So you've seen it before anyone else in the world has seen it. Woo! And now we're live with Rentlio. We should have some excellent data to share from Croatia in next year's report. And I'd love to come back to Rediscover and share next year's report with you guys too. So it was a real pleasure exploring the insights with you. Hvala na pažnji. And I think I'm the last one, so I will see you in the bar. Thank you very much. Oh, we've got questions. Splendid. Lisa, you mentioned the report includes data from 14 countries. Does that cover any from our region? I would like to understand how relevant the data is for our market. That's a very good question. And the reason we don't have data for your market is because until now, we've never really been in your market. And now we've got the right partner to grow in your market. So we do have some, but it wouldn't be relative, really. I think we might have something in the region of about 150 hotel partners. So that wouldn't give us a broad idea in Croatia of what traveller data would share with us. But this time next year, we'll have a lot more data from Croatia. All being well. Hope that answers your question. Based on your experience and available data, how do you see the future of online bookings? Wow. Well, based on experience, I can say that online bookings it's took a while for some markets have adopted online business very quickly and have made a success of it. Some regions are slower to adapt to modern technology and online business. But I would say the future is AI. People will be changing the way they book. I think the OTAs are still going to be very prevalent, but we need to get smarter as hoteliers at leveraging all these different options to drive online bookings and make it more direct. I think as long as you stay ahead of the game and you've got the right technology partner on your team, then you should be where you need to be. Any more questions? Are we good?
Yes,
Thank you
very
very
great.
much.
Thank you a lot.